Pokemon over the years has had a lot of different spin-off games. Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon XD, and now a bunch of mobile games. But I want to talk about a Pokemon game that I think deserves way more love. Pokepark. I played this game as a kid over at my friend's house and never got to beat it. Now as an adult who still does basically the same stuff, I have the ability to beat this game. You may think this is a baby game for babies, but let me argue why it's not. This game has a story, a cool battling system, mini games, and a whole Pokédex, or I guess friends list to fill out. And I'm going to be doing all of it to 100% completion. This game was so good, it got a sequel released 2 years later. And now, I'm going to show you why this game is amazing. The story starts by us getting isekai'd by Mew. You really just told us to go through a random black hole to kidnap us. And now that I'm thinking about it, getting isekai'd has surprisingly happened a lot in Pokemon games. Anyways, you told us that we need to collect all the prism pieces in order to help save Pokepark from, earthquakes. I don't know. You know, we aren't playing this game for the story. So, we started our journey. We play as Pikachu, and our main way of progressing through this game is making friends. The main way of doing this is playing a variety of minigames, playing chase, battling, hide and seek, and a couple of other things. We learned the tutorial some of Pikachu's attacks, Quick Attack, and Thunderbolt, which will be some of our main attacks for the rest of the game. After the tutorial, we arrived in the Meadow Zone, where we are basically an outlaw. No one really trusts us, but do you know what we can do to gain their trust? Mini-games! Or in this game, they call them attractions. Each attraction you can choose from certain Pokemon if you have them as friends, and some are better than others for completing the minigames. The first attraction was Bulbasaur's Daring Dash, which is a racing minigame, and you want to know how you go faster? Shaking the Wiimote as fast as humanly possible. Oh yeah, this game is on the Wii. I guess it is in the title, huh? But after completing the attraction, Mankey and Trico just took my friend Chikorita to their leader, Venusaur, saying we weren't allowed to be doing attractions, which didn't really make sense. But do you know a fun attraction you can do? Hitting that subscribe button, please. Well, if you want to. Every early zone or area in the game has a leader that we need to become friends with in order to progress. So in order to cross this bridge to get to Venusaur, Mankey told me to make Turtwig win the Bulbasaur attraction from earlier. The same attraction that got me into this mess in the first place. But first, I gotta make Turtwig my friend through a game of chase. Yes, chase. It's as dumb as it sounds, but follow me here. Chase is essentially tag, but with Pikachu as the tagger. And some Pokemon are faster than others for this. I am in the first zone, so nothing is too difficult, but after you become friends with a certain Pokemon, more Pokemon come to the zone to play. For example, I found Bonsley in this very hard game of hide and seek, and then Sudowoodo came to play. Also, in order to 100% this game, you have to become best friends with all 193 Pokemon in the game. There is a secret cutscene if you become friends with everyone, which I'll show at the end. I already showed you guys how to become friends with most Pokemon, but in order to become best friends with them, you just do the same thing, but slightly harder. And you can check if they're best friends by looking at your friends list, and they'll have a rainbow icon next to them instead of just a normal one. After I gave Turtwig a good shake, my Wiimote got disconnected. But after shaking it differently this time, I got Turtwig's bonus time. So basically every Pokemon in each minigame is given a set time or score they can get in order to get some extra berries. Berries are used for a few things in the game, but mainly to upgrade Pikachu's attacks. After being able to cross the bridge, I have to cross another bridge. But this time, I have to battle. And this is honestly where I like Pokepark the most. A lot of Pokemon can be cheesed by dodging and using Quick Attack, but some battles do get harder later in the game, and you have to find an opening with your attacks. Pokemon either charge at you, or they have ranged attacks, and some have both. But who cares, let's talk to Venusaur. Venusaur told me to become friends with a bunch of people, basically to prove myself, and I wanted to play with Leafeon. But Leafeon told me I needed 20 friends, which I think is a bit rude. But anyways, I arrived at Spearo's Obstacle Hop. A pretty hard challenge for some, but luckily Spearow gave me 100 seconds for those couple jumps. I swear this game is cool, guys. Oh yeah, the story. So TLDR, Venusaur doesn't like Pokemon in the zone leaving the zone, or playing attractions because it's dangerous. Yeah, so in order to convince Venusaur that attractions are good, we play his attraction. Doesn't really make much sense, but I played Divine Swing at minigame. And after completing it with my friend Mankey, I received a Prism piece. Also, I fought a Torterra, and you actually can't use Thunderbolt on Pokemon that are immune or resist electric. Also, since I can leave the Meadow Zone, I can now upgrade Pikachu's moves, and got to see a Pikachu training montage. Anyways, I'm at the Beach Zone now. And look at Psyduck when playing hide and seek. This is why this game is precious. And I will say I love knocking over these Pokemon, and most of them get up with a smile like the masochists they are, except Psyduck. Psyduck cries, and I feel terrible when I hit him for a little bit. Also, you want to know what is plain cheating? Playing it chase with a flying Pokemon. Like, I'm a Pikachu. That's not how that works. Luckily, they land, but that was their mistake. Also, since this whole zone is surrounded by water, you can one-shot a lot of the Pokemon by just knocking them in it. I decided to finally do the story. Wait, never mind, I found Vaporeon. And I need 30 friends. Yeah, Vaporeon is too good for me right now. Also, I just want to point out this battle with Staravia. Okay, I'm gonna lead him to the water. Okay, I'm gonna sit next to this. Anyways, now it's story time. In order to get to the Iceberg zone to see Empoleon, I have to get Feraligatr to break this rock, but Feraligatr wants me to beat Gyarados because Gyarados wants to be the leader of the beach zone instead of Empoleon. Yeah. Oh hey, Piplup. So I have to play Bridge Builder now. Basically, boxes around the map, have wood, give the wood to Bidoof, and then Bidoof will build a bridge for Piplup. Because Piplup's stuck. Well, I guess Piplup can swim, but we need it for why not. So I know I came back for Leafeon. I actually remember this chase from when I was a kid because of how hard it was, and honestly, it was still pretty tough, especially since I haven't upgraded my speed at all, and getting best friends with it took me a couple tries. Also, I have to do Pelipper's attraction now because Bidoof isn't allowed to build a bridge because Sharpedo is mean. And for bad Pokemon in this attraction, you can't even get all the rings because you're so slow. Also, I look really dumb when doing this. And after rescuing Piplup, I had another training montage. Anyways, Gyarados' attraction was next, and it was a pretty fun racing game. Luckily, I had Vaporeon now, and that was not her first slip and slide. And after I gained another Prism piece, I made my way to the Iceberg zone where Empoleon was. And this place was cool. I got to see Artillery run, which is something I didn't know I needed, and Glaceon told me I needed more friends again. I'm starting to not like the evolutions that much. So Mamoswine is stuck frozen on the other side of this pond, and I need Frostlass to freeze the lake in order to get to him. But first, you guys gotta see Pikachu on the ski lift. Alright, sorry, I fought Frostlass and she froze the pond, allowing me to free Mamoswine. And turned out Empoleon freezed Mamoswine and was hiding in his chambers, so I went to confront him. And guess what? I have to play his attraction. I don't know if you guys were expecting much else. Anyways, Empoleon opened up his heart and wanted to revive his friendship with Venusaur and Blaziken, the other zone leaders, because I beat his minigame. Yeah, and I got another Prism piece. I went back on an oddly worded Lapras, went to another training montage. I was actually able to learn a new move, Iron Tail, from Primeape. I didn't even know Primeape had a tail. I mastered Iron Tail without a tail. But to be honest, this move is okay. I can still just use Tackle 99% of the time, but it is fun and quick to use. Now I was off to the Quarry Zone. It's connected to the Lava Zone, which is led by Blaziken, but first I gotta repair the minecart track leading to the Lava Zone. First, we gotta do Machamp's Obstacle Hop, and he has rocks. And I do want to say they get fun and a little bit creative with some of the chases and battles. Like, when you're chasing Mawile, if you hit her from the back, you get snatched by her jaws, so you have to tag her from the side or the front. Anyways, I had to get to the minecart rail still, and I was told it could be found in the berry storage, but in the end, I couldn't find anything but big berries and a Diglett. Diglett told me he dug a hole under Snorlax, which had the rail. Honestly, the story is a lot of he said, she said stuff. But hey, look, it's Pikachu in the hot spring. And I will say, I love how Pikachu looks when carrying big objects, but they make him waddle so slow. But that's fine, because we're now in the Lava Zone. Some of the fights here were actually pretty cool, and I'm a pretty big nerd for some of the animations for their attacks. Like this Play-Doh fight was pretty fun, because you can watch him use Explosion, and also a partial tracking confusion attack. Also, the gimmick with this zone was to create levers and other objects using this furnace and iron ore found in the area, just to get to other parts of the zone, which required a lot of slow carrying from Pikachu. But hey, we found Charmander. Oh, and for some reason I was told by Macargo I had to clear 2 attractions in order to talk to Blaziken. And who am I to question Macargo? First was Rhyperior's attraction. It was a self-controlled Beyblade clone, which was pretty fun. Some of the better Pokemon have custom abilities in the minigame, which is kind of cool. The main objective was knocking other Pokemon off the arena, and the time limit, and to keep up your combo. You can kind of lose it all by getting knocked off the stage and losing your combo, but with some of the power-ups, it's not too bad. Next was Bastiodon's minigame. It was just Pong with extra steps. And then finally, we were able to talk to Blaziken, do Blaziken's Boulder Bash. It's really just a timing minigame, and yes, I look dumb while doing it. And after collecting another Prism piece, I'm told I need to collect 6 more from their other remaining zones. I did another training montage, and went into the Haunted Zone. Remaining areas don't really have leaders like the other zones before. The main goal was just to complete the attractions and get the Prism pieces. First attraction there was Tangrowth, and it was basically like the Vine Swing from before, but just in succession. Some of the later minigames were just better versions of the older ones in the game, which is okay. okay, I guess. Also, this area was mainly a haunted house, which allowed for some cool Pokemon to be here. Like this Gengar was just inside a painting and had a cool fight. Gengar had a tracking Shadow Ball and a close range attack, which was a bit difficult. And next was Dusknoir's Dash minigame, which was like Bulbasaur's minigame, but they're walls now that you can crash into. Luckily, I got Gengar as a friend and it quite literally just phases right through the walls, which made the game a bit easy. The other attraction of the zone was Rotom's Spooky Shoot 'em Up. It's like those arcade shoot 'em up minigames, but you know, we're on the Wii, so we got motion controls. The game was pretty fun to fight through just to see what other Pokemon's moves were to attack the ghosts. Overall, this zone was pretty good. But next, we were on our second to last zone, the Granite zone, and I was first greeted by Lopunny. Alright, that's pretty important. Anyways, it was time to play Absol's Hurdle Bounce. It's essentially another dash minigame, but this time you can jump. Yeah, so after getting a Prism Piece from Absol, I fought a lot of cool Pokemon, and did Togekiss's Obstacle Hop, which had more than 3 jumps this time. But after that, I had Salamence's Air Race, which was really just Pelipper's minigame, but this time you have some targets to hit, so it was a bit more fun, nothing crazy. Also, I want to say this Arcanine chase was actually pretty hard for the second time. Arcanine leaves a fire trail behind, and if you get hit by any of it, you basically have to retry the race. I don't know how fast my dash was upgraded for this, but I learned if you get the angle right, you can Thunderbolt Arcanine to get him. Finally, I was able to go to the Flower Zone, the last major area. There were some pretty cool Pokemon here like Dragonite, Shaman, Rayquaza. And speaking of Rayquaza, we had to do his attraction, Balloon Panic, which I think was probably the most unique and well-crafted attraction. It first had an auto-scroller segment on a Rayquaza balloon with rings and random enemies coming at you. And then it had a target shooter section, which was fun, but pretty funny because some Pokemon have such a large blast radius for their attacks, making the target section pretty easy to hit if you can figure out the motion controls. And after that, we almost had everything we needed. All I had to do was water a flower for Shaman, and now with my old friends and Skyform Shaman now, we went to the final area, the Sky Pavilion. This was the last area and where we went to go look for Mew. We tried splitting up looking for Mew, but after checking around, I found 2 Piplups, which was a bit strange, and after confronting the imposter, Mew was revealed. And Mew made me do a lot of challenges. First I had to do an obstacle hop, and then I had the Battle Mew, which was kind of cool because Mew could transform into anything. Like I went through Magmortar, Garchomp, and a Tyranitar. And finally I had one final game of chase. With that, we put back together the Sky Prism, saving the Pokepark. And in a normal playthrough, this is where it would end. But I still have to become friends and then best friends with every Pokemon and do every minigame to 100% completion. I may have completed the game in a bit more in 8 hours, but in order to do all the minigames, I have another 9 hours ahead of me. I ended the story with 147 out of 193 friends, which is pretty good, but the remaining Pokemon I need to get are a bit troublesome. Luckily in the meeting area, there's an Abra who can tell you how many Pokemon you need in each zone, and I spent a lot of time finding Pokemon I haven't gotten in all those areas. But the main time sink was completing the minigames with every Pokemon. Like these minigames are fun to play once or twice, but doing Venusaur's Vine Swing 16 times is very slow and painful. But I had to do this in order to get Jirachi. Yeah, fun. Yeah, every minigame had to be completed by every Pokemon to get their bonus. Or I guess I should just call it their high score in order to unlock the legendary or mythical Pokemon for the attraction. It does take a while, and looking at some of the Pokemon and their attractions is pretty cool to see. I think you guys noticed by now in the video, but I like looking at the funky animations. But that leads me to the next way I have to get Pokemon, passwords. I remember going to the book fair at school and getting one of those cheat code books, and yeah, they're in this game. 7 different passwords. They're for Pikachu with balloons, Pikachu with a snowboard, Pikachu with a surfboard, but also Celebi, Groudon, Darkrai, and Jirachi. But I won't make you guys watch every minigame again, but I will show you this cutscene that happens when you become friends with every Pokemon. I had to get best friends with every Pokemon too, but I don't really think it does anything other than maybe make the rainbow bigger. I'm really not sure if it does anything, but with another final battle with Mew, I did everything to 100% completion with Pokepark. So when should I play the next one?